Here we have an animal vaccination trial, one which allegedly hasn't been done since the 60s, according to my local veterinarian, who told me this once I asked, hey, can you get me a vaccination trial where the animals that didn't get the vaccination had a higher rate of mortality / disease incidence? Of course I can, she says. Yeah, it might take me a couple of weeks. No, she didn't say weeks at the start. Of course I can, she says. Even the chemists seem to think this has been done for humans. So, my veterinarian down the road, she said, yeah, months later I find out she didn't find anything of the sort. She found something like I already had found, and she told her secretary to tell me that these kinds of things don't get done again once we figure it out, because it's unethical to just keep doing it and killing dogs when we've already figured it out. So the last time it happened was in the 60s, she said. I asked for the trial report, the name, and all of that. She would not tell me anything. The secretary would not say, they won't talk to me. I even tried to get an appointment to sit down and discuss the nature of experimental evidence we have for vaccinations with anyone from this clinic, and they eventually boycotted me. They say, no, we don't want to do that. So here they have selling vaccines. They've got someone who's honestly dived into the data that is different to what the veterinary told them would be. And they're saying, can we please talk about this? And the vet's saying no. And I'm saying, I'll pay you to talk about this with me. And they're saying, no, we will not do that. I will not mention the name of the vet clinic. So here I told them, I have one from 2004. Okay, so they are being done, or they have been done again. But the issue with this one is we have beagles from one place, brought up in one place, and then they are taken to the area where the vaccination trial is going to happen when they're 4-year-old. And these are all vaccinated dogs. Beagles from the same facility were vaccinated. They were 4 years old, as I said. The dogs that weren't vaccinated, there were 7 of them, and they were from 2 different facilities. Neither of these facilities were the same as that which the beagles came from. So all the dogs involved in this trial, all the adult dogs, we have 3 different facilities where they were brought up. And we know that the vaccinated dogs were specifically beagles. We know that because we are told. The other dogs that weren't vaccinated, we don't know what breed they were, we don't know what size or anything like that. We do actually know that they were 4 years old. They were the same age as the beagles who were vaccinated. In this experiment, the beagles had a much lower rate of disease incidence. One of the unvaccinated dogs died, and one of them was put down, euthanized. There was a lot of disease incidence measured in the unvaccinated dogs, and only a very small amount measured compared to the unvaccinated ones in the vaccinated dogs. So the beagles did much better than these mystery breed dogs, and they were all the same age. What is even more interesting is that for each injection, I don't even think I explained this yet. This trial, the setting of it was, we have 3 different viruses that are all associated with disease in dogs, and we blame them for causing the disease. So we have 3 different insertions of this virus into the dog. Over 1 million viruses in each injection, perhaps 1 trillion or more. So we inject these dogs in their vein for 2 of the viruses, and for the parvovirus we put it in their nose, spray it in their nose. None of the dogs died from the parvovirus that was sprayed in their nose. Some of the dogs died when they were intravenously injected with these viruses. And for each injection, each different virus, so there's 3 challenges, 3 injections. We are shown the results of 5 beagle puppies that were included, 5 fresh puppies in each injection. They were specifically beagle. This was, in the report they said this is to show how virulent these viruses are. So as to say, we will kill all these puppies as well, just to show you that this is the real deal, and the puppies are beagle too, you know. Why didn't the adult beagles die? They're beagle too. And the other dogs that weren't vaccinated, well, we can say that they were dogs. Can't say how heavy they were or how healthy they were. We can't say that they had the same kind of life as the beagles. We can't say that the people running the experiment didn't know which dogs were vaccinated and which ones weren't. But we can say that all these viruses that were injected into the dogs, the diseases that they're associated with, and we say that they cause, every one of these diseases, the 3, they have fever as their primary symptom. And yet not one of these dogs, only one dog had a fever recorded, a higher temperature than normal. So however the viruses killed these dogs, it doesn't appear to be in sync with nature, with the natural circumstances whereby these dogs are in disease and this virus is associated, and they have fever every time is their primary symptom. So not every time, but it is a primary symptom, that fever. In this experiment, we apparently killed dogs with these same kinds of viruses, and only one of them had a fever. And yeah, so this seems to be the face of animal vaccines. Congratulations. Even if we do say, okay, all the dogs were the same breed, and it was a single blinded trial. I mean, the people injecting the dogs didn't know which ones were vaccinated, which ones weren't. The dogs were the same weight, same health. They grew up in the same facility. Their whole life, they didn't know. No one knew which ones were going to be vaccinated their whole life. Even if we come along and to the challenge and find that the vaccinated ones did better when they were injected with this shit, we still can't say that this is proof that vaccine is beneficial to anyone in real world circumstances of disease genesis. No one has ever booted up with an army of viruses. It starts off in a small process, and whether you generate the right antibodies, whether you can stay on top of this allegedly evolving viruses while they're reproducing in your cells and building up numbers, if you fail to produce the right antibodies as they are building up, you're going to get sick and die. You might get sick, theoretically that virus is going to take off because you failed at that initial tango when it was starting. Here we introduce a heap of viruses. And what if some dogs are better at dealing with a heap dumped in their vein all at once, but other dogs are not as good as that, but they're better at dealing with it naturally. I.e., when a region of cells starts getting infested, they can get on top of that. They can use their intelligence to know where it's the trajectory of the viruses and just stamp it out. They're really good at that, but they are not very good at handling a big load of antigens dumped in their veins. That's why this kind of experiment is unethical, not because it's already been done in the 60s, which I can't find any proof of because the vet just blocked me now that I told her that it was done in 2004 as well. It's unethical because no one has ever injected with antigens in reality. We can't get any decent observations from this. And I think that the fact that none of these dogs produced a fever, it tells that something's actually different about disease genesis. It's a bit different to what we actually are teaching in the universities. Hence, none of the dogs, one of them got a higher than normal temperature, yet plenty of them were diseased.